Welcome back, everyone, to the Word Traction Network. This is my daily podcast. This is Let's Go All Sun Tzu on Their Ass. It's appropriate that we're talking about uh, Chinese philosopher because, of course, Donald Trump, in an effort to add more shit into the system to distract people from what's actually happening on the ground. He warns against Chinese and Iranian interference, but forgets to mention his controller, uh, Vladimir Putin, which is just par for the course. What my short message is for this Monday is, we're approaching the middle of August. It's time, and with all of the things we know about distraction, Congress on holiday, Mr. Steiner, the Postmaster General, doing Donald Trump's will as, the head of the Postal Service. We have to plan as if everything will slow down. The message from Sun Tzu, The Art of War, the most wonderful. If you've not yet read The Art of War, I would commend it to your attention. It's wonderful. There are lessons for every aspect of your life, and this particular lesson is short. Condensing it is: don't prepare for what you think your enemy will do. Prepare for what he has the capacity to do, he or she. You have to take Donald Trump at his word that he will disrupt elections because he said that in a national address. It would be nice to believe that people working in, yes, voting is handled on a state by state basis, but he can wield tremendous power and influence in a disruptive sense by using his jackbooted ICE troops or whomever, his U.S. attorneys. He has, excuse me, he has a lot of weapons at his disposal. So we have to prepare as if the system will be disrupted to the degree that he promised. That's it's a lot like, you know, Trump won't get elected again, so I don't need to show up at the ballot. We've learned some hard lessons. So take him at his word, and by extension, you can take Project 2025, Vladimir Putin, uh, read read them, hear them, and understand it quite literally that this is what's going to happen. Don't No more magical thinking. There's a little bit of construction noise off over my right shoulder, so I apologize. Every person of voting age in the United States today should order a certified copy of your birth certificate. Men, women, we've talked about the additional hurdles that women have to go through if they chose to take their husband's, wife's, partner's, or other's name. Also for transgender folks, too, name changes. This is it's an extra layer of shit that we shouldn't have to deal with. And I was going to say I'm not a betting man. That would be a silly thing to say. To say that, if you listen to particular news sources, that John Thune doesn't have the votes. In fact, he has said that he doesn't have the votes to crack the filibuster and thereby getting the the simple majority to get the SAVE Act passed before the election. And common sense and history would tell us that this is too close to the election, Purcell principle and otherwise, to make any such a substantial change to voter IDs and voting this close to the election would disenfranchise millions of voters. That doesn't mean they're not going to try, and it doesn't mean they're not going to be successful. So, with the admonition from our dear friend Sun Tzu, and we're going to prepare as if they will be successful on the SAVE Act and in every other conceivable way. There are costs, our time, our money, our patience, our bandwidth, all of those things. Yes, legitimate costs, but we got to do it. It's our country. And the only way to get things back on track is to have a resounding victory in the midterms. And with the SAVE Act or some version of it being voted in by your boys Clarence and Sammy Samuelito and John Roberts, allowing it to get over the line, even a watered down version, will cause chaos in elections that already are under strain from the U.S. Postal Service and other sources. So today, do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for your kids, do it for your country, he said. Hopefully. How do you do that? Well, you don't get raked over the coals by the disreputable services that provide certified copies of the birth certificate of live birth in certain places. You go to the source. You contact the county where you were born in these here United States. And you ask them or look on their website, however you want to handle that. What is the most expeditious way for you to get a certified copy of the live birth certificate? We have to assume that they will be, county governments have been under assault. And I wouldn't be surprised if county governments in legitimate swing districts might come under additional pressure by the Trump regime. So do it now. Do it today. As I mentioned in an earlier podcast, Cuyahoga County in the once great state of Ohio, that encompasses an area near in and around Lake Erie, which once burnt. That's Cleveland. And I received a week or two ago a certified copy of my birth certificate from Cuyahoga County, and my name hasn't changed. I did not take any spouse's names when I guess I was only married once. Is that right? I'll get back to you on that. I have the same name that I have when I was born. So it's easier for me. It's always easier for men, of course, because that's the way the world is designed. Unfair, but we're dealing with reality. We're not dealing with what we wish it could be. So I got for $21.50 in regular mail, regular handling, within, it was I'm going to call it 10 days, right? So 10 days, now we're running into a late Labor Day. Kids are going back to school. Counties themselves under pressure politically. Let's say it's going to take a month. Then all of a sudden we're down to our last 60 days, right? I would say please for your family, for our democracy. Do it today. So find out who needs the money, send them the money, and it'll be on the way. You'll feel good about it. Post about it. Tell your friends, tell your family, make sure that every member of your family that is legally of age to vote has that. Now, some people are very good record keepers, and I actually have my quote unquote original birth certificate in a safe deposit box. I wish I could remember what state. But it's there. It's old. It's decrepit. It's a little bit worn, torn, and frayed, as I am myself. But but this is so important. And of course, if I'm talking smack, I better be doing the same myself, or I'm just another hypocritical fuck like most of the Republicans in the Senate, or all until proven otherwise. Yeah. So do that. Okay. So you're on the dude side of the ledger. You have a certified copy of your birth certificate and a valid real ID, either your driver's license or your state issued ID if you're not a driver, you're good, right? The best, the platinum level of voter ID is, of course, the US passport. If you have a passport, you can skip the certified copy of your birth certificate. But I would, because of all the uncertainty, I would do that because you're making a list and you're putting together your war chest in order to fight against the fascists. And could they come up with an obscure last minute finding to add chaos into an already chaotic system and insist that all people bring their birth certificate? I don't think so. But I'm not dealing with a declining leader who is under the influence of Russian state security. What can you predict accurately of Donald Trump's behavior in the last 10 years? Nearly nothing, except greed is good. That's about all. Excuse me for a moment. So there it is. Everybody, and think about it, people that have not considered this issue for a long period of time, there are these delightful clerks in the county offices in the various states. All of a sudden, they're getting 4x, 5x, 6x the number of requests. It'll be slow. So if it was a month for me a month ago, then it's going to be 2 months. And if right now we're at, what are we at? 2.5 months until the midterm. So I would ask you as a friend, as American, as a as a Substack homie, do it. It's money you'd rather spend on anything else. That's what is that 3.5 trips to Starbucks or less. Do it. Do it for your voting age kids. Obviously, I'd prefer that there was an organized plan in place on a national level to get passports for every single human being, every single citizen in the United States. But I talked about that last week, and it would be ideal. But to do that in a way that's orderly, that wouldn't overwhelm the system, we'd have to announce it and fund it and do it for whatever 2032. That's 2 years after you boycott the 2030 Super Bowl in in Nashville. If you missed my episode yesterday, boycott NBC, boycott NFL, boycott. We don't have all of the sponsors yet because it's almost 4 years away. So you're like, hey, we got shit to do. Why are you talking about 2030? Because it's the principle. It's the most extreme Jim Crow voter suppression efforts that we've seen in 100 years, more, 120. It's serious. And start with Tennessee because they're the worst of the worst. Thank you. We need to punish them first, foremost, but they ain't the last on the list, right? So everybody's got their certified copy of their birth certificate on the way. The admonition is if you wanna be able to put it out of your mind completely, it's the passport. Boys, girls, everybody else. Is it is the one that I have in my possession valid through at least this election? I'm talking about I'm frequently asking people to make sure that their valid picture ID is good through the 2028 general election, because this is going to come up again. You know it is. So if you have the option of renewing early, updating, well, you know, everybody's in a different situation, and I'm not suggesting that everybody has an extra buck 65 to run out and light on fire today. I understand that, but it's what we're up against. So figure out a way, do your best, get that real ID too, because we don't know. For instance, in the legislation, as an example, uh, a woman who changed her name at birth is in possession of her original birth certificate, but her last name is changed because she took her now life partner's name um, as her own while getting married. There's something that was still frequently used in real estate transactions, is a same name affidavit, right? What that was meant is to cure ambiguity around real estate transactions, probate, and other, where, if you have a name that is misspelled on certain key documents in your life, your world, you have a very common name, other reasons, that affidavit is often part of the template, closing package for an attorney. So is there are provisions for that, but it's ambiguous in the language of the SAVE Act that we hope isn't going to be pushed through at the last minute. But again, will John Thune be under such extraordinary pressure, fear of actual violence against he or his family? Will that fear tip the balance and make him say, "Yes, sir. Yeah, I know the election is next week, but we'll just let people deal with it." And they push the act through, and then people show up for voting, and they said, "Well, you didn't present your ID at the time of registration." Well, registration was 3 months ago. Yeah, but it's a SAVE Act, and we're proud to be Americans. This is America. So, you know, yeah, you have to imagine, because of all of the evidence that we've seen to this point. So, yeah. Passport, if you can, apex predator. Excuse me. But certainly every man and woman of voting age now, or who will be of voting age in 2028, spend the $20, order it today, because it's going to take some time, because they'll be under pressure, and get it in your hands. And that is, you know, legally, it sounds kind of silly, but legally, the birth certificate is proof of your citizen, because, and there, of course, he's kicking the shit out of birthright citizenship. We know who he is, but we have to deal with, the laws as they are today. In order for the Congress, for the president can't change the law. The president can't write an executive order changing the law. He thinks he can. He thinks he's a king. He thinks he should be able to, but that ain't how it works. But let's again play it where it lies. That's Sun Tzu also said, play it where it lies. It's deep. It's in the appendix, I think, probably, of The Art of War. Also, stratagems. Well, that's for another day. Great reading, fun stuff. Good for those that are business leaders, professional athletes, fighters, or lovers. It's good strategy, mind exercise. Reading Art of War. Yeah. So that'll about cover it for today. I would ask that again, you got the money, get the passport, get the go down to the CVS, sit in the little booth, let the nice lady or man take your picture, walk out of there, go down to the post office if you want to do it old school, fill out the application, provide those, write the check, etc. That's how older people did it forever. Of course, you can accomplish all this online, except perhaps the photo part at this time. But get it done, and then it's out. Then whatever they do, you got the passport, and whatever they do, you have the birth certificate with a valid real ID. Real ID itself is not sufficient for voting under the SAVE Act, and you know it's going to be handled differently in every state. So just do what you can control, control the controllables, right? And good message for a Monday or any day of the week. Thank you, and wishing you all a beautiful day. I may do this every Monday until the midterms, some version of it, war stories, hats and bats, fights in the streets, whatever it is that's related to the subject, because it matters. And the only way for us to recapture what we lost is an overwhelming majority first in the midterm elections, and then planning starting the next day for the general. But in order to have that overwhelming victory, which it may be a more narrow victory with all the suppression, but with a win will be a win, and we move on. But we can't get to the win. We can't get on the playing field unless we have all of our weapons. And our weapons in this fight include valid voter identification. So thank you, and wishing you all a beautiful day. I'm going to lean over here. Yeah, try not to hurt anything, and wishing you all a good day. Kindly subscribe and restack, and thank you.